The show, I think, generally depicts NCIS accurately. Obviously, there are the Hollywood requirements for entertainment. Every episode is based on some semblance of a real investigation. We have provided a lot of insight and input to the writers, so they understand the types of cases we work. There is a basis of realism in every single show. Obviously, they have to entertain the public, and we don't conduct our investigations in 30, 45 minutes. Other than the time frame, I think the show was somewhat realistic.
I mean, there's a real difference between a TV show and between the realies. And I don't think any of us here ever lose respect for who these people are and doing it for real versus us actor types who are working hard to try to make it look real when it really isn't. You know, this is a TV show, this is the real deal. And there's a huge difference, both in experience and the danger level of what you do, and certainly in the pay. And we don't ever forget that here.
Mark would make a great agent. He has the same mindset. There's a funny story. When I was still in Los Angeles and Mark was shooting the show in the first season, we had a headquarters inspection, which basically means that our inspections people from our headquarters come out and they look at our operations and make sure that we're performing properly and within the guidelines of the organization. And when this inspection team came out, I asked Mark to come out and pose as an agent and sit in on a briefing. And Mark was kind enough to do it. And he came in and he posed as an agent and actually started giving a briefing to the inspectors. And he wore a hat to try to disguise himself. And he actually fooled the inspectors. So your question, could he be an agent? I think he could, because he pulled that one off.
This is our missing lieutenant.
Any idea how he died?
After 2 years in the water, difficult to say. Do you suspect foul play?
Oh, you know me, Duck. I suspect everything.
So many of these things are based on real stuff, and to a degree, I think it is terribly current, this show, because it's a terribly current time. But I also think it helps at the fact that the NCIS was birthed during World War II and existed for a long time until this TV show came on and people started saying, what is NCIS? My first meeting with Don, I sat with him and said, what is NCIS? I'd never heard of it. And that's intended. They don't want you to hear about it. This show has changed that, certainly. But to a degree, we've also made it easier for them to recruit and get the kind of people they need to do this very difficult job.
There are some basic qualifications to be an NCIS special agent. You have to be 21 years of age or older. You can't be over 37 years of age, and that's because of a retirement situation. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to have a 4-year college degree, and you have to have a very, very clean, pristine background. We go through some very stringent background processes, both for hiring and to obtain our security clearances. All NCIS special agents have top secret security clearances, so we can gain access to the type of information that the Department of Navy holds to do our job.
Are you in charge of this investigation?
At this moment, here at NCIS headquarters, I am. Agent Gibbs is unreachable in the field.
Now, beyond that, we're looking for very unique people. We're looking for people who have flexibility. This is a very flexible-oriented job. You have to be able to adapt quickly because the Navy adapts quickly.
McGee, where are you going?
Norfolk.
Well, I got some good news and some bad news for you.
You've just been promoted to a full-time field agent.
Really? That's incredible. What's...
You belong to me now.
We all, as special agents with NCIS, have always known that we're a very special, unique, and professional organization that does tremendous things. But now, for the first time ever, other people are aware of that. And that's the benefit of the TV show. It has given us the identity with the larger public that we've never had before. Recognition of our organization went from very small to huge. I remember there were times when I was assigned in Georgia, and I would go out into the central parts of Georgia, the farmlands of Georgia, to do investigative leads on something, and I would go to a local sheriff's department and show my credentials, and they had no idea what NCIS was. They didn't understand it whatsoever. The TV show has changed that. You can go to any part of this country now, regardless of how far it is from a U.S. Navy warship or from water, and people immediately know who NCIS is. That is what the TV show has done for this organization. It has given us an identity.
It's a rare day where you can't pick up any paper and read about the FBI or Secret Service or tobacco firearms. You know, they're all out there talking about what they're doing at any given time. You don't read much about NCIS, that little group that does what they do, in some cases better than any of them, and more constantly. So much of what they do is not known. By intent, it makes their job in some ways easier to do. Though it's a very difficult job, I would never say it's an easy job.